All right, we'll go ahead and call to order the July Planning Board meeting. Got confused there. Had the public hearing still on there.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
I did see that now. First item is correspondence. So we had 3 items. We have the public hearing ad for the public hearing that we had on the LD 2003 in the floodplain. Then we have the letter from the state just confirming that the floodplain management ordinance that we approved met their state and federal guidelines for what they needed. So that was just confirmation that was sent to the selectmen. And then lastly, we had an email from resident Jeff Merrill with concerns on the sand pit. He lives on Benson Road. So he's sent a couple messages of concern about he called it the Notman pit on Maplewood. It's, I believe is it Shea and Sons? Yeah. Shea and Sons. I know that this has come before us before in terms of what the planning board can do. There's really not a lot that the planning board can do. It's it's an enforcement concern, so it falls to CEO, deputy CEO to go out when he receives any concerns. I know that Jess, you've been out there a couple times, right? Yeah. So as with any concerns anyone has, that's what the code enforcement does, is they handle the enforcement after it comes. The planning board handles initial applications, new applications, and changes, and uses the ordinance book and the comprehensive plan to sort of direct those. And so when it comes to enforcement or handling anything, that falls to the code enforcement office. You can forward that through code enforcement, or you can forward that through the selectmen, and they'd be able to allay any concerns. I know that Jesse has office hours and ability to reach him that way. So I would direct anyone, if they have any concerns, to reach out to Jesse or the selectmen, and they can forward those concerns to Jesse. Next, we had a review of the minutes for June 19th. Don't have any yet, so no minutes to review.
I thought I went looking for it and they right there.
No worries. Old business. We didn't have any old business, so we'll move on to new business. A is proposed land use ordinance amendment, cannabis facility licensing ordinance, received from the select board. So we did receive a ordinance amendment proposal from the selectmen. Received that on July 8th. And it's updates to definitions. It's adding in permissible uses and clarifying where those permissible uses can and cannot happen. I believe they were all either prohibited or conditional. Yes. Okay, so all the uses being proposed are either conditional, meaning they would need to come before the planning board, or they would not be a permitted use for each of the different uses added. And again, there's several definitions to be added to Appendix A. just to outline what each of those different facility types are, with the majority of those relying on the state definition. So, which is the 22 MRS 2422. And so most everything is outlined in that. And then it does call out where in there each of those definitions are. So it makes it a little bit easier to find. As for our process, so the ordinance requires within 30 days of receiving a amendment to the ordinance, where to hold a public hearing on the proposal. We have to post it in the newspaper of general circulation in the municipality at least 7 days prior to the hearing. So what we need to do is determine when we are going to have that hearing. The final date that we could hold such a hearing would be August 7th. That would be day 30. So we would need to hold it August 7th or earlier. At that point, we would discuss the ordinance, discuss what questions there are. And then once we've held that, we have 30 days following that to make a written recommendation regarding passage to the selectmen. So we either recommend approve or recommend to not approve to the selectmen. Which we could do in our August meeting. So we'd be able to do that in our August meeting on the 21st. 21st? Yeah, 21st. So we'd be able to do that on the 21st. We'd be able to vote as a board on whether or not we were recommending approval, denial, at that point, and then we'd make that recommendation. And then they would take that recommendation, hold a special town meeting, and have a vote on acceptance or non-acceptance of the proposed ordinance. So I'll open the floor up. Any questions from anyone on the board? Paul?
On the second page of the table, under use structure industrial, you have the adult use cannabis testing facility and the medical cannabis testing facility. Both are testing facilities performing the same function, but the medical, it's listed as an N all across the board for zones, and yet the adult recreational use has conditions. Why would, if they perform the same function as testing facilities, why is one an N and one is conditional?
So those are the questions that we're going to need to have for the hearing, because I don't know that we necessarily have. I know we have two selectmen here with us, and Jen, or Dave, if either of you would like to answer that, if you know the answer, or we can certainly address that now, but.
That's an easy one.
Okay.
The ordinance, aside from the zoning ordinance changes that we are bringing forward, is an adult use ordinance. So it does not include anything about medical cannabis. So no medical cannabis is addressed. There are two separate entities.
Very separate.
Yeah, very separate.
Okay.
One's addressed by MRS 22 and one by MRS 28.
Oh, I guess I didn't catch all that. So you're not allowing any oh no, yeah, you are. Medical cannabis caregiver facility, conditional
We
uses.
can't limit.
Yeah, we can't limit caregivers. If they're licensed by the state as caregivers, we can limit where they are, and we can require a license,
Yeah.
but we cannot limit.
They're not required.
Well, why wouldn't that mirror the testing facility?
State law.
Probably.
Testing on medical marijuana.
That's what I don't like.
Testing on
recreational.
I don't know where they put these
Actually,
fees.
adult use recreational is way more stringent.
Okay.
I have a question.
But-
Where did you guys get these fees from? What are you basing them on? Are these just,
Petitioners that, yeah, some petitioners that have requested.
I know, okay.
Yep.
I know if like, I wanted to run a garage or something, it's not a big, huge annual $1 million fee for a license every year.
Quite different, a garage to cannabis.
It's still a business.
It is.
I just don't
It's still
understand.
very different.
It's very
I see.
different and very regulated, and those fees actually came from the petitioners themselves.
Petitioners. You lost me on petitioners. What petitioners?
So they've been working with a group that had brought this to them.
Oh, okay.
And so, and none of that group is here tonight. But hopefully they will be in attendance, for the public hearing.
Okay. No, just questions I had. I mean,
What we're reviewing is all commercial based. It's all for profit commercial,
Yes.
as far as we know,
Yep.
right? So they're commercial. So why are they zoned in residential and farm? Which goes against the definition of what forest and farm zoning and rural residential is for.
Okay, and I guess I don't understand.
So rural
You already-
residential, for example, you have adult use cannabis testing facility and the medical cannabis caregiver facility, which in the rural residential, and the purpose of the rural residential district is primarily to provide low-density residential housing.
Yes, that is one way of,
So you're putting commercial stuff in residential
there
areas.
already is.
There's already commercial stuff that has to do with controlled substances.
Yes.
That's on the medical side of it right now.
Right, right, and that's why it's
That's why
conditional
it's
use,
there.
right?
But, okay, the adult use cannabis testing facility also comes under rural and farm.
It doesn't, it comes under village and village residential.
Page 2, adult use cannabis testing facility, RFF and LIO.
Oh, no, that's NNN, you must have the,
I'm like the one.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, I got to end all
yeah, we got N's.
Right down here?
Yep, that's,
Bottom, yeah.
here.
Well, that would be good.
Yeah? You guys all have the same thing?
I got a bunch of Cs also.
Okay, well, they have the wrong copy.
yeah, I think
FF and LIO, I got Cs.
Yeah.
also.
Okay, well, that looks better now.
Okay,
Jeez.
yep. I think that was one of the last,
That was hurting my brain.
yes, that's one of the last drafts we made.
Okay, that's
with
better.
the lawyer, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Thank you for picking that up.
A cannabis store is not the same as a dispensary, huh? A dispensary doesn't sell the product,
Dispensaries are medical.
or only medical now? Okay.
was the recreational.
But there's only a few places that you can put those as home.
Right. There's a lot of bullshit involved in that.
Are those dates final, Aaron?
What dates?
That we set for the back on.
Yeah, because we'll have to put it in, we'll have to put in a notice.
That's a big difference now. Wow.
Yeah, it is.
You need one?
I stole hers,
Okay.
or yours.
Is that two-sided?
It is
I'll tell you what,
two-sided, thank
Can I give you this one?
Yeah.
Just to replace that one page, I'll give this back to Jen.
Yeah, sure. We're assuming the front page is fine then?
Yes, it's just that one.
There. Glue that back to that one.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. So we need to make a decision on when we're going to hold the public hearing.
So according to the posting for the last public hearing that we did, we need 2 weeks advertising.
Cutting it short anyway.
And this would have to be.
13 days in the town hall, 12 in the paper.
Right, so it would have to be published, might as well publish it twice, so it would have to be,
You have to be what?
it would have to be the 7th.
It would have to be the 7th?
Yeah, you could do it Monday, Tuesday, but it makes sense to just do it on the night you're.
Right.
When does the public get their hands on this to review? Public hearing?
I'm not.
It should, when the advertisement hits, it should be on the
Yeah,
website.
that's fair, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So if the advertisement goes into the public date, should be available to the office.
So the ad will go in on the 24th and the 31st.
I'm trying to figure out what's the reason. Why do we have to have this
Saying
one?
the 7th of August would be.
It's all money.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm talking to Roger quietly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to set a date. Sounds like August 7th is the best date to do it, given that we already have that as set as a regular workshop day. We can just replace the workshop with the public hearing. I do need a motion for that day and time.
I'll make a motion that we have a hearing on August 7th. This
What time?
at 6 o'clock.
Do I have a second?
I guess I'll second it.
All in favor?
You're the only one that can.
Opposed? Abstain? There we go.
I'm not available that day. That's why I abstained.
There you go.
Neither am I,
Huh?
neither am I.
You're not available either, huh? I'm not available the 6th or the 7th of August.
Go on, party.
Okay, so we will hold the public hearing August 7th, 6 o'clock here. You're good to get that posted?
So that's what I was gonna ask you, Jen's here, we already have an ad put together, do you want to send it for us, or do you want me to like send it?
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay. August 7th, 6 p.m.
Yeah.
If you guys want to send it, make sure you get to for next week and the week after.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Want me to send you a reminder?
No. It was suggested by our engineering that it was advertised. Okay.
That's fine. Yeah,
Just do a, like, I would put planning board at the top.
Just, I'll make another suggestion, Aaron.
what's that?
Got a feeling we're gonna have a whole lot of people coming for this. I don't know if we're gonna be doing it all in here.
Have a lot of people.
That's a big subject.
Yeah, yeah, I think we'll also want to prepare to not have the meeting in here.
Yes.
Yes.
We're gonna have a lot of people, I believe.
That's just for the public hearing,
Correct.
Well, yeah,
have a town meeting.
Well, we can also, we'll make our recommendation at our next meeting, and then it can get added on to the town meeting, the regular town meeting in September. I mean, it would just be one more article.
Yeah, well, let's think about that. If we have that same crowd at the public hearing.
Not our choice, though. It's up to them. If they want to add it to the town meeting, they can do that. Our job is to hold a public hearing, to discuss it, get questions answered by the public, and then make a recommendation to them, yes, yay or nay, and then it's in their hands from there. Whether they want to tack it onto the regular town meeting or hold a whole separate town meeting, they can do so.
Seeing how Alan will not be attending August 7th, do you want to do anything in preparation to make sure you have quorum?
bring these guys up for it or something.
You know, one of those guys probably should be brought up.
Just in case Saban can't make it either or something.
Check me on that, but I don't think we need to because it's a hearing. We're not gonna be doing any voting.
Yeah, that's true.
You can open and close the meeting without quorum.
Well, it's a hearing, so I don't know. That's my question.
Hold on.
Boss will let us know.
I wasn't prepared for that.
Or
I'm just not sure about adding this into the town meeting.
That's not ours.
It's causing a lot of confusion.
If they wanna do it that way, it's up, it's again, it's a selectman,
planning
it's
board.
a at that point, it's out there and it's a yay or nay. It's not a,
Right.
the discussion to be had, if you have questions out
Say
there
them.
in the world.
Say I'm a
The meeting to
holdup.
come to is August 7th. That is the one where you are to raise opinions, things like that.
Right.
That's the one, that's where the opportunity is to make changes, to ask about changes,
Right, and the point of
to make
business
opinions.
for the planning board right now is to determine, to hold a public hearing. That's our point of business at this time.
Right.
For the planning board. So yes, August 7th, and then whatever the selectmen want to do, they do.
Yeah. Yep.
So I would say yes to moving somebody up, because it is normally how we hold a public hearing, it's part of a regular meeting, where you call for order, you adjourn. To adjourn, you have to,
Quorum.
you have to vote.
Gotta record it, gotta have quorum.
I would say yes, if you're gonna have a quorum of 3, or bother, but if you wanna be sure, I would just to see why it.
Yeah, I think it makes sense because all it takes is, at that point, is one person not to be there and we can't have it and we have to have it that day. So, need a motion to move up both alternates to replace.
I make a motion to move both alternates in place for the public hearing.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay.
You're welcome to big leagues. All
Yeah,
right,
because we know you're not gonna be there. And then if any of the three,
Right.
us two are Saban, is not there, we
I
don't have.
plan on being there, but
Yep.
the big guy upstairs, you know.
never know. He's law.
Any other questions on that item?
We could,
Okay. Next, I'll open the floor for Jesse. I know you had a question that you received on a existing subdivision that was approved in 2010.
wow.
Christina's Crossing, or Christian's Crossing. There was, the previously recorded plan had driveway entrances on it. And what we was at 2005. So there's just a small print of it right there. You can hand that around. You can, if you look closely, you can see all the driveways. Then another plan came forward in 2010, which supersedes all other plans, but had no driveway entrance locations on it.
Wow.
So in that subdivision, the driveways were shared between lots 4 and 5 and lots 2 and 3. So now, with no driveway entrance locations and where it says that this plan supersedes the previously recorded plans, what do we do about driveways?
Yeah, so 2005 plan had driveways, 2010 plan supersedes, basically replaces that plan, has no driveways, and none have been put in the last 14 years.
Correct.
And so now they're coming before you to put driveways in that are different from the original plan. But because the second plan supersedes, I don't know that there's any requirement from us as to what we can, you know, or what you can enforce in terms of that, because basically it's as if there's a plan with no driveway plans and they're wanting to put a driveway in.
Correct.
This is on a subdivision though, right?
Yes.
Aren't driveways required?
Well, yeah, they're gonna have driveways, but it's not gonna be in the specific location that was previously approved.
Right, well, if that plan doesn't have driveways, how can that be approved?
It got approved in 2010,
It's signed off by some board.
and it got signed. I can bring it over to you, and you can see it.
It's not being complete.
No parking, no driveway is approved on it.
It's-
How the hell is
Signed off though.
Past the point to appeal.
Signed off, it's approved.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I argued, a lawyer ended up calling me because I stopped somebody from putting a driveway in. Because it wasn't in the designated area
Right, of the original plan.
on the original plan. And they said, well, this plan supersedes that.
But there's no, if,
There's no driveways on that.
Well, still need a driveway entrance permit.
Right.
I said, you guys need to come back to the planning board and bring the whole subdivision back.
ooh, sounds messy.
Subdivision all totally developed.
And it says
No.
just page one.
It's not just partial.
Just partially developed.
Just come back with a new plan and have it correct.
Yep,
Where'd you do where'd the original one end up over there? Oh, it's in your
got
hand.
it under your hand, Harvey.
The original?
Hobby's got it under his hand.
Yeah. Original's here, the big one is.
Yeah.
This is,
One of them.
this is one of them. This isn't the signed one.
Trying to determine which one
This
came.
one's one of the.
Yeah, but it don't show no
Those driveways.
no driveway. The driveway is on that one.
Well,
Driveways on this one. Because these are the ones signed in 10.
Right.
There's no driveways.
Gonna have to have a house when you drive.
these are all the
I
driveways,
can't
profiles for everything.
take out the,
One was Miss Wright.
They got approved.
This one got twice.
In 2005. And then this one came in 2010, revised the plan, but showed no driveway.
Maple Crest.
Make it press.
I think so.
Yeah, see here?
The one. Oh, okay.
That's the
I guess
stuff.
what I'm looking for is,
She signed off.
do I send them back to the planning board knowing that that plan supersedes all others?
So that plan doesn't have,
Drive-
that's the plan that we would have to go by. Doesn't have driveways.
Right.
Doesn't list any other sheets as one of three. It
Right.
only says sheet one or cover page, however you want to look at it.
Yep.
Like your meat getting taped.
Yeah. We didn't.
Really, what the buffer difference is. Either.
Oh,
That's fine.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay.
Is this on you by complaint or some sort?
I stopped a guy from putting a driveway in, Harvey.
Meaning,
I don't know, he's doing his job.
So from a process standpoint, typically, if someone wants to put a driveway in,
Right. I look up
they get a permit,
I look up the plan to see what was approved for the driveway.
and if there was nothing there, what would you do?
Go out and see where the pre-approved driveway was.
If there was no pre-approved driveway?
If there wasn't, I'd give them a driveway permit application through the road commissioner.
I would say that's our process.
Okay.
I don't think we obviously can't go back and change the plan. And we can't recall it, given that it was 14 years ago.
Right.
So we can't review anything there.
So there's no way of sending them back to make a revision to the plan for a driveway?
we have to look in the ordinance and find out if there is. I don't know if there's anything in the ordinance that allows us to do that.
There isn't. It's right on the bottom of that page over there.
What's it say?
That plan supersedes all others before
I
it.
understand that.
Right.
But what I was saying, I don't know if they can come back to us if we can't find nothing in the ordinance to allow us to do another review,
Right,
then we're just stuck with that one. There's no,
okay.
we can't change the ordinance.
and then like you said, you go through.
Should have said
you
to
go through the-
include all driveway designs,
Yeah,
is what it should have said.
right. But I don't know if we have to look at the ordinance.
Yeah, because we can, I can't remember,
It's not in,
The commissioner would normally go to that property and assign a driveway.
Yeah,
And then paperwork wise, he would make a recording on that lot. and indicate that there's now
He
a
would-
driveway?
It would be on the
That's him?
application.
Oh, okay.
You done?
Yeah.
Who was the road commissioner at that time?
Back then? I don't remember. 2010? No, 2005. They would have been the road commissioner in 2005. Right.
Well, it's a plan that's been approved, but has no driveways. Obviously, they lost the driveways. It sounds like the road commissioner, and the road commissioner goes to each lot and figures out where the driveways go.
That's what he's gonna have to do.
Yeah.
So
Ah,
pretty much I gotta eat my words to the contractor that was out there putting his driveway in.
Can't be right all the time, Jess. I know. I'd like to be right just once.
Very seldom.
Reapplication, reapplication.
I think that's after one's been
That's what they filled out.
failed, shot
They made a
down.
revision to the subdivision, that's why they came to the subdivision.
I understand that, but there's a reapplication paragraph in here. I found one.
They gotta want a revision to the subdivision to come to plan. Right now, they're saying they don't need to come because it's an approved plan without a driveway design.
They can do all of that. Well, that's on the plan. They just can't put driveways in.
Right, they gotta.
There you go.
They can until they go through road commissioners.
A helicopter,
Yeah,
Pads.
yeah. Pour some helicopter pad.
legally, that's.
It's all in the verbiage.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's called, reconsideration.
Yeah.
All right. Next item we had was scheduling a workshop. Obviously, we're going to have our public hearing that night. And then prior to adjourning, I'll open the floor to public for any questions.
Back in the day that plan was made, was there driveway regulations?
Good question.
I'm not sure what the ordinance looked like in 2010.
Well, they didn't have one for a while.
Yep.
And they developed a driveway ordinance.
Yeah, so it's certainly possible that their driveway ordinance, or that wasn't part of the ordinance at that point too.
I think we had a developer that came in Parsons Field that just wanted to sell lots and had no driveway plans.
Yep.
So it's not the first.
No, certainly if that came before us today, obviously that would be part of the whole deal.
So
Yeah.
Driveway entrances in 2005. They approved. And then in 2010, they just failed to show up on the plan.
Right. Well, they may have been put on just different surveyor doing different thing because the second plan doesn't have elevation either. So, yeah, it's definitely a much simpler plan in 2010. And so creates some challenges.
And that plan was really only created to create lot 7.
Right.
So it's in the last line of that block,
Yeah,
but unfortunately the first line.
right. Yeah, supersedes all other plans.
And
Right, because there also exists maintenance agreements for the two driveways between 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. But again, those were from 2007. So the plan supersedes those from 2010.
I'll ask you a question about shared driveways.
Sure.
And I'm sure there's a maintenance agreement of place for power or whatever. But is there anywhere where you can get a shared driveway to put both their mailboxes in the same location versus having one on one side of the driveway and one side on the other driveway. Because that makes the person have to stop twice in 10 feet.
Yeah,
That's usually, like in my house, they did something like that, because I have a shared driveway. The post office was the one that actually sent a letter out to us to have them all put.
I don't have
Sure.
a,
Yeah,
That was their
sort of
deal.
makes sense.
Yeah, that was kind of their deal.
But I don't think we have anything in our ordinance to
Yeah, I don't-
say that
I don't think we do.
what's the subdivision? You got the subdivision, Jesse?
joint mailboxes.
Right, yeah, I don't think there is.
Jesse,
But like I said, I know they had post office itself.
you got the subdivision.
Wrote letters to all of us on the
back
road
there?
and said, you know, can you please?
Like a school bus stop.
That's where we have to find the answer.
Yeah,
maybe to
I know,
that.
that is annoying, but yeah.
Not much in it?
I know what you're saying, Mr. Gray.
You have 45 days to appeal it. That was 2010.
Right. I'm just looking for, if there's something that the board can do because of the regulations that allow us to reconsider or recondition based on new evidence.
only if they broke the law in making the decision, it says.
That's the way I see that. I
Right.
didn't quite read it like you did, but I do if it says the law has been
Broken.
broken
Yeah.
or new evidence.
Driveways, paving, driveways.
And to partially answer Jeff's question about mailboxes were in the right of way to any road.
Culverts, corner clearance.
You mean right away?
Like on Route 160, there's a 33-foot right of way from the center line of that. So everybody's mailbox is going to be in those states right away.
Right.
Right? So even the same on County roads.
I was just curious on joint driveways, that's all. Joint driveways, you know, one puts their mailbox to the left, the other one puts to the right, but why can't they just both put them together?
Sometimes your neighbors just don't get along. That's the truth.
It happened.
And they're not being funny about it. It's the truth.
Oh, I'm sure, but
It's happened.
The ordinance appears silent on that issue, Jeff,
Yeah.
which kind of makes sense. It's not really a town thing and that's more of a,
Postal and
like a
state.
federal postal thing, I
What's
guess.
that, for mailbox?
For mailboxes,
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah,
but, yeah.
the only thing that I read in here.
Suggested setback for the
Yes.
Yes.
And height.
Anything else from anyone?
Questions?
Hearing none, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Thanks, sirs.
Well done. Back to the AC.
10-foot range.
Did you get all what you need?
Had a bear in my yard today for the first